How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to my channel today. Today, I wanted to talk about a very important subject about making decisions and life choices. But, you know, I feel like people that are in their trauma or their addictive behaviors, it's very difficult for them to make important life decisions or long-term decisions. It's always been short-term gratification, short-term goals, short-term things, whatever you want to call it, but they're not really goals or you know, accomplishments because they're intermittent and they're not consistent. Because addiction is, hey, I want this now. It's going to gratify me at this time, but it loses all its appeal afterwards. So that type of mentality goes into finding jobs, working with other people. It goes into our schooling. That mentality of, well, this is not gratifying enough, so I'm going to move on to something else. And that's why a lot of addicts and a lot of people that are in their traumas drop out of school, don't go to college, or either they go to school or they go to college and they end up dropping out. And then also, they don't fulfill any, real goals or dreams because of it, especially in the workplace. They may be able to get a job and hold it down for a short period of time, but then they decide, well, this job doesn't fit me, it doesn't fit my style, it doesn't fit my personality, so I'm going to move on to the next job and the next job and the next job. That's kind of like what an addict's mentality is. It's, let's move on to the thing that's going to give me the most gratification in the shortest period of time. So I was talking to my sister Jill about gratification, addiction, and trauma, and how that can cause us to have this delusion that I don't want to have anything long-term in my life because everything seems so temporal and everything seems so short. Well, that's the trauma brain and the addict brain talking, not your actual, realistic self, which has been taken away from you because of your trauma and your addictive behaviors. So I told my sister, because she was talking about getting a job at the Conifer House, which is a place here in town. It's a assisted living center. She said, I don't know if I want to do this long term. And I said, what do you mean by that, Jill? I mean, you haven't you've only had one job, you've only held down one job. And that was even difficult for you because you were in a toxic environment with people that were very narcissistic. And I said, but if you are unable to deal with those narcissists in a healthy way, and continue to do the same traumatic behavior that you've always done in your life, then it's hard to figure out, well, do I want to do anything long-term? Because you're going to run into narcissists wherever you go, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. So getting right up here is important because it helps you to start thinking long-term when your whole life you've been thinking short-term because of your addictions. The thing is I've always had problems with long-term relationships, long-term, goals and dreams and things that I've always wanted to do because of my trauma and because of my addiction. Now, constantly working on the short-term goals of getting your mind right will help fix that problem. Why do you think we have so many children that grow up, get jobs, have no work experience, but get a job, go in, cold turkey, and think they can keep that job and not take care of the trauma or the addictions that they've had? What they don't realize is that they have trauma and addiction, and that's why it's leading them from job to job, from school to school, from relationship to relationship. They have no clue that that's what's really going on. That's why they have no goals or dreams or long-term ways of thinking, because everything's so temporal within their addictive and traumatic world. So adding video games, adding media, adding, all these different things to their lives when their mind is already chaotic doesn't help the situation. It just makes it worse. And so I take it back to, let's just say, for example, the 1930s and 40s, when water was very, very hard to come by. Good drinking water was hard to come by. So what did they do? Well, they introduced alcohol into the water so that people could actually, get fluids into their system. Great idea at the time, because because people weren't thinking, oh, well, there's other ways to purify water other than alcohol. But instead of thinking of other ways to purify water, they started to mix alcohol into their water and make alcoholic drinks. This became a problem because we started a whole generation of alcoholics in what we call our society. And over the last, 100 some odd years, alcohol's been kind of a societal norm. It's because of that. So, and you can see all the dramatic and problematic effects alcohol has had on our society. It leads to infidelity. It leads to other drug abuse. It leads to so many other things, and it chemically alters the brain and destroys, everything else within the body. But back in the day, it was, hey, we got to survive. We got to be able to get ourselves hydrated. Well, alcohol is known to dehydrate, so I don't understand that whole picture. But I do understand one thing, is when we start getting away from good principles, good morals, and good standards, whether that be under, whether you believe that that's under God or Buddha or whatever, when you get away from those good principles that govern good thoughts and good behavior, then the result is kind of what happened during the Prohibition eras and, back then when, it was hard to get good drinking water. There are many other examples of how society has changed because of the stupidity and the moving away from good morals and good principles, and how the generations have suffered one after the other because of that bad decision, that poor decision. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. And if you guys got anything out of this video, great. Hit the like button, do whatever you want. I don't care. This is more for, it's more of a personal channel for me to grow and to become better, to understand my own life and how to overcome my own trauma. And you guys can take it to overcome yours if you'd like. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Bye.